I've had a lot of fun recently dealing with a language called like Web Origami, which is it's a very new, it's kind of emerging,
Hmm.
and I don't think it's ever going to become like the way to create websites. But in terms of creating static sites, it's awesome. It's building on your base building blocks of HTML, CSS, JavaScript,
Hmm.
and just getting those and putting them together and creating essentially your own static site generator based around your site.
Hmm.
And you can also, because it's just building with like core technologies, you can build like EPUBs for like electronic books and RSS feeds. And I built a podcast feed for my grandmother the other day using Web Origami.
Hmm.
It's literally just putting together files and iterating over files and getting values and putting them in templates.
Hmm.
And it's really simple, especially if you've got a little bit of JavaScript experience.
Hmm.
But it's a really awesome language, and it's just really fantastic to use. And I can see that being a way that development goes as people get more and more disenfranchised with these complex behemoths and just get sick of dealing with them,
Hmm.
as people already are, based on what people are writing about.
Hmm.
People writing about how they're fed up with React and they spend more time dealing with the React than they do actually building websites. So, I think coming back around to those kind of core web ideals, but with a kind of fresh twist,
Hmm.
is how I see things going and kind of what could be, next couple of years.
Hmm. So sort of I guess like reviving that. How would I say it? Like reviving that more simple way to build a site, I guess.
Yeah, I think we've seen kind of like indie web sort of ideals, like
Mm.
especially like decentralized social networks and things. And certain people, not everyone, in fact, a very niche collection of people. I think we've seen people kind of come back around to the idea of having your own site, owning
Mm.
your own content. And I think maybe not in the corporate world, but certainly in like just the web, just people using the internet. We're going to see more and more people building like their own little things and creating them and sharing them. And
Mm.
I think that's going to be a wonderful web to get back to as people do it more and more. So
I think that
yeah, I
is
can
one of
see
the.
that being very exciting.
I was gonna say, I think that is one of the things that I do find really neat about how Blue Sky does its verification system. That it's not like, it like the old Twitter. It was this exclusive club. You had to like have 20 Wikipedia articles made about you, 20 news stories, and then maybe they would accept you. And now it's you pay some X amount of money. But the way Blue Sky does it is you have a website and you link your website to your account and you verify that you're that person. Like, this is a great system and encourages people to actually have a domain and have a site and have them like have their own personal web presence that isn't controlled by by Facebook, by Google, by any of these other major corporations, which is the way that we've seen the web go over the past 20 or so years.
Yeah, and beyond the verification aspect of that,
Mhm.
you've also got just the aspect of people going out and buying domains, or rather renting domains,
Mhm.
for the purpose just of having a cool domain for their Blue Sky handle.
Mhm.
And then people, like, I've seen people who have purchased a domain for their Blue Sky and then going, oh, I've got a domain, I may as well build a website now.
Mhm.
And then they've got a website. And that's awesome. That's fantastic,
Mhm.
getting people to actually build their own sites and inspiring them to do that just by having them create a social media account and then linking it back. And yeah, that's fantastic. That's my favorite bit of the Blue Sky domain verification I
Mhm.
think I've seen.
Well, regarding domains, a topic that I often bring up and often does get discussed is just how many TLDs exist now. I don't even know what the number is. It's
Oh, it'd be huge. Well, I've got
yeah.
dot rocks. I don't know what dot rocks is. I just have an ego.
Let's find out. TLD rocks. Uh, it is. It
I
was.
think it's just one of those like a generic, just created to be a TLD.
Um. Yeah, it was. It was created to provide greater expression on the internet. That's literally it. That's what it says
Yeah.
here.
So for people like me who have a huge ego and obviously want to, broadcast to everyone that they're really cool and they rock, yeah, perfect, fantastic.
But a criticism I'll often see with just how many TLDs exist now is, yes, it's cool to have things like rocks, but there's just so many of them that exist. It kind of feels like some of them are just made solely for the purpose of selling more domains. It's not like any of these spaces are overly crowded. Like, a lot of these people don't even, frankly, know exist. But every couple of months you'll see some new TLDs that get created, and some of them certainly do have value and some of them do have purpose. But then you have TLDs that are created, reserved for a specific company, and I don't know. I do think it's good that we've moved past just the core set, because especially .coms have gotten very expensive, and they've been expensive for a long time. .nets have been expensive for a long time. So we needed more than just that. But I don't know, there's just so many now. I can understand some of the criticisms that do exist there.
Yeah, I mean, if I ever got $500,000, I think I'd register Veil as a TLD. That'd be the first thing I'd do. Stuff anything else. That'd be it. And obviously, companies are doing that. You've got .google, and I think .amazon is one as well.
Audible's one as well, which I didn't realize you were just now.
.audible. Ooh. But the thing with all these, like, I'm going to call them neo-TLDs, but, I don't think there's kind of a group word used to describe the new ones. But in terms of these new ones, people don't understand them. Like, I gave some my email, which is veil@veil.rocks, and they sent an email to veil@veil.rocks.com. And that's where the issue lies in terms of these fancy new TLDs, because people are used to .com or .net or .org. They're not used to all these fancy new ones. And I think that also plays an issue with phishing scams and things like that. So I do love all the new TLDs that we've got, and the increased expression and the driving down of costs as well, to an extent. Like, I don't have to go get veil.com, which I believe is owned by a giant mining company.
Yeah, it's even if it was available, it's a 4-letter domain. It would be minimum $50,000 a year.
Yeah, speaking of that though, I was reading a interesting essay the other day about like 3-letter acronyms and how not every 3-letter acronym is owned by a business.
Okay.
Like there isn't a business that represents each 3-letter acronym. I think it was on a Gwern. I think it was one of Gwern Branwen's writings. But yeah, I wonder. I don't know if that touched on domains, but I wouldn't be surprised if there were 3-letter domains which haven't been registered at all ever. The prices would still probably be high because they're 3-letter domains. But yeah, there might not be the demand that almost you would expect there, just because businesses using them don't exist.
I actually didn't have thought about that. I'd assumed just because of how, I don't know, considering just how expensive they would be, maybe there would be someone like domain squatting on them, but I don't know. Some of them, I don't know if all of them would have value though. Like, once you start getting to the 4 and 5, what if you like grab common words? Yeah, but if it's just a random assortment of letters,
Yeah, because is there inclination to domain squat on it if no one's ever used it before and there exists no Wikipedia article with a business that uses that name?
I'm sure this would be a very easy problem to resolve. Like, you could probably just write a Python script and answer this question in about 5 minutes. But
yeah. In fact, it might have already been covered in the original article I was referencing, but I read it a few months ago and I can't recall it completely now. But I have been working on a little bit of a business venture. I won't jump into details or anything, but for that I made sure to get a .com domain, simply because .com domain has a certain thing to it. People understand and trust .com domains a lot more than they do anything else.